Under the scorching sun of the valleys, beneath the mighty Himalayas, where the holy river flows like an eternal hymn from the dawn of creation, a traveler walked in solitude. His feet were calloused, cracked, and bloodied after months of grueling journey through dense jungles and treacherous mountain passes. He sought no gold, nor did he crave power. He had come to demand an explanation for the perceived meaninglessness of existence. He had heard of Adi Shankaracharya, the young sage who carried the wisdom of the ancients, the one who proclaimed that this entire world is but a veil of Maya, an illusion. When he finally found Shankara at the riverbank during the twilight hour, the master sat as still as a primordial statue, dissolved into the very pulse of the cosmos. The traveler fell to his knees, his breath ragged, and uttered the question that had haunted his long pilgrimage. O revered master, if this world is an illusion, then are my sacrifices, the pain in this body, and even this flowing river, all merely nothingness? If everything is false, then tell me what is truly real. Shankara did not reply with scriptures or dry metaphysical concepts. He looked at the man with eyes as deep as the ocean, a gaze that did not stop at the tattered clothes or the exhausted frame, but pierced into the very core of the trembling soul within. Suddenly, without a word of warning, Shankara picked up a sharp-edged stone from the riverbed and struck it hard against the traveler's wounded foot. A cry of agony shattered the silence of the dusk. Why have you done this, master? It hurts. This pain cannot be false. The man cried out in fury and bewilderment. Shankara smiled a smile as light as moonlight, yet containing the clarity of all existence. Pain is an illusion. Why do you scream? This foot is false. What is it that perceives this throbbing agony? You claim all is illusion, yet you cling to this pain as the only proof of your existence. The traveler fell silent. The pain remained, but the master's question had ignited a spark in the dark chambers of his mind. Your greatest error is in misunderstanding the meaning of Maya. You think illusion means emptiness or non-existence. No, the stone is real, the river is real, and your pain is real. But the way you perceive and label them, that is the illusion. He pointed to the water, shimmering in the setting sun. You see the river, but you do not see it as it truly is. You see the fear of drowning. You see labels of beauty or ugliness, sacredness or pollution. You look at the world through the lens of memory, prejudice, and the stories your mind weaves. When you look at a rope in the darkness and mistake it for a snake, your fear is real, but that snake lives only in your mind. The world is a sea of pure energy, but you have used your mind to translate it into a reality full of separation. Illusion does not lie in the objects outside. It lies in the lens through which you see. The traveler asked softly, his voice now calm yet filled with longing. Master, if everything I touch is distorted by the mind, then amidst this constant flux, how do I find that which is eternal? What is the real that nothing can shake? Shankara did not answer with theory. He looked at the water, ever changing. Look at this river. At times, it is a fierce wave. At times, a mirror still lake. At times, a mist. At times, hard ice. Its form changes from moment to moment. But I ask you, does the essence of water ever change? Whether wave or ice, its nature remains one. So is your life. Your body changes from child to old man. Your emotions change from joy to sorrow. Your thoughts change from faith to doubt. Anything that is born and dies, anything that comes and goes, anything dependent on time and space cannot be the ultimate reality. He paused, his eyes shining like a sky full of stars. The only real is consciousness, the silent background that observes all these movements. Consciousness is the formless witness, unhurt by the stone, unwet by the river. You are not the tragic character in the film projected on the screen. You are the pristine, white screen itself. The film may show war or peace, tears or smiles, but when the film ends, the screen remains untouched. That is the real within you. The traveler felt a strange vibration coursing through his veins. He realized he had been suffering because he always identified himself with the small, fragile wave, and thus feared death when it hit the shore. Shankara spoke as if pouring nectar into his soul. The greatest illusion is the thought that you are an I separate from this flow. When the wave realizes it is water, it no longer fears the ocean is itself. When you stop labeling, when you stop dividing the observer from the observed, you will see that all is a magnificent mass of energy, a single presence. This touched the core of what humanity has always sought, a peace that does not depend on external circumstances. If we are the consciousness, then nothing in this world can take away our wholeness. Every event that occurs is but a ripple on the surface of the eternal background of awareness. The traveler looked silently at the river. A strange sensation washed over him, not the understanding of a new theory, but the dissolving of a great burden. The questions he had prepared felt suddenly weightless. He no longer felt the need to search for truth, for he realized that the seeker and the sought were, in essence, one. Shankara spoke one last time, his voice fading into the wind. Awakening is not gaining something new, but shedding what is not you. When your mind is as still as a lake without ripples, the truth reveals itself. Then you will see that the stone is no longer an enemy hurting your foot, but an expression of consciousness. Pain is no longer a burden, but a dance of sensation. You are no longer the traveler, for you have come home within this very breath. The twilight had faded into darkness. Shadows covered all things, but the traveler saw himself clearer than ever before. He no longer felt separation between himself and the master, between himself and the river, between himself and the vast cosmos. The veil of interpretation had shattered under the light of pure awareness. He bowed down, a bow not intended for an individual, but for existence itself. He walked away, no longer a restless wanderer, but one who carried the eternal real within. On the parched earth, every step he took now bore the mark of freedom. For he knew he was the water, and this entire ocean was his home.